Evening from New York. I am Selwyn Collins, your host of CWS Journeys. Thank you for joining us this evening, and a very special welcome to those of you joining us for the first time. I'm I'm very honored actually to have a very talented and gifted designer from Trinidad, Jacqueline Charles. Jacqueline Snack Charles is the CEO, creative director of Coco Caribe Design. Sorry, she first studied design at the St. John S. Donaldson Technical Institute in 1993, and later studied design and fine arts at the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus, Trinidad. That's UE, 2011. She later studied jewelry design at Metal Industries Institute of Technology. I'll take a short break. We are back, and the lovely lady next to me is Jacqueline Charles. Jacqueline, good evening and welcome to CWS Journeys.
Good afternoon.
Jacqueline, why do you design, and what would you like to have been doing if you were not designing?
So when you're starting out with really hard questions.
Oh, sorry.
Hi. Why do I design? Design fulfills a need for me first to begin, to be creative, yet be creative with a purpose. Um, if I was not doing what it is I did, I think I'd probably be doing something where I'd be exploring archaeology and history, because I just love that.
Archaeology?
Yeah.
Why archaeology?
Strangely enough, archaeology is closely tied to what it is I do in terms of especially my design, aesthetics, and so on. Because I tend to favor the look of ancient civilizations and so on in my designs, and I like designs that tell a story. And when I research stuff that I want to include in a design and so on, it must have that substantiative storytelling component about it.
Hmm.
Able to translate, like, for example, look at the story of ancient Babylonia or something, and then recreate it in a modern context for people to really have an understanding and appreciation of what went before, you know?
How did this connection begin? You and an ancient art or archaeological, well, ancient art and design. How did that happen, and when?
It dates back to my relationship with my father. My father used to go and I would sit on his lap and watch him and what it is he was doing. Um, my father used to stay, I don't know what you would call that, a marina. He would stay around the world on like different ships and so on, because that's part of what he did, you know. And I would look at the drawings that he would recreate and so on, and he would tell me stories and so on, and I would sit there and I would, just, and then when I learned to read, which was different, reading opened up a whole world. I remember, I think I was telling you a couple, it was last night I was talking to you and I was telling you about one of the things that fascinated me, when you had the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the things that fascinated me was the pages or the subsections on like different cultures and different countries and so on.
Hmm.
To me, it was me being able to explore, you know. So that has always been with me, to explore stuff like that and to look at it and to travel. And even now when I travel, whenever I travel and I come back revitalized, because I have seen people, I like studying people, I like observing people, I like observing different cultures. So,
So, when you hear the word Trinidad, what comes to mind?
pardon?
When you hear the word Trinidad, what comes to mind?
Trinidad. Right now. But when I hear the word Trinidad, it's just the natural effervescence of the people and the way how we take everything with a tongue in cheek. Things can be that serious, and Trinidadians have this capacity to do with everything with a joke and poke fun of it. Serious issues, and we poke fun of it, and that's how we deal with things, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can you give us a glimpse into your life growing up in Trinidad at ages 9 and 15, if you don't mind?
Ages 9 and 15. Well, a glimpse of my life, I would have to state that although I was born in Trinidad, my mother was from Grenada and my father was from St. Vincent. I'm a very Caribbean person
Ah,
and I have a strong Caribbean heritage. So having family from both St. Vincent and Grenada and having them play an important part in my life in terms of the influences, I was able not to have this sort of myopic view of Trinidad alone, but having a view of the rest of the Caribbean through my cousin's eyes or through my aunts, you know, through the stories they would tell me or through what they would bring to share and so on. So that helped to mold and to shape me and make me basically who I am in terms of appreciating
hmm,
Caribbean, you know, because I don't consider myself a Trinidad and Tobago designer. I consider myself a Caribbean designer.
yes.
Because so even in the name that I chose for my brand, it's drawn from the Caribbean and its peoples and all the festivals and all the things that we do that are uniquely Caribbean. The rest of the world may not understand it, but we are able to identify with it. You know, there's no words that needs to be spoken.
Who are some women, including your mom, of course, but who are some women that have had a great influence on your life and while you were growing up?
Would you believe one of the, including my mom, and one of the women in terms of who I found very, very fascinating was the Louise Bennett, the Jamaican playwright and narrator.
Uh huh.
Yeah, because I could do like accents really, really well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I tried, right?
I'll test you with a Guyanese accent one just now.
So with Louise Bennett, I was fascinated by her stories. You know, she and Paul Douglas.
Ah,
Two, in terms of who did what they were doing at that time, that made me see myself as a black person and a Caribbean black person. Because, you know, tend to want so on the accents and the affectations in terms of the standard English and so on, and we forget about who we are and what these little nuances and the way we would say something could mean that's uniquely ours, you know? And when she spoke, I was fascinated by this Jamaican accent. I would sit down and listen to Baby Louise and I was like, wow, and just play this thing over. My mother had like tapes about she and Paul Douglas.
hmm,
And I would listen to these accents and these stories in terms of like what they was talking about growing up and so on. Those along with like books like by Caribbean authors like Michael Anthony and Samuel Selvon and these people. When you read these books, it's a part of you that you won't get in school necessarily.
hmm.
You know? So literature was one of the subjects that I passed with flying colors without even blinking because I love to read, you know, and love and identifying with the characters help you to retain more and to understand more. So the
If
Caribbean part of the literature module in school was fantastic.
if a non-Caribbean person were to ask you, what do you mean by being Caribbean?
What does it mean by being Caribbean?
Yes. What would your interpretation? What would you tell them? What is a Caribbean woman to you? Because everybody seems to have their own interpretations. But to you, when you say I am Caribbean, what would you like someone to come away with?
Unselfishness.
Mm.
Yeah. Because any part of the Caribbean you go, there's no resistance to love and no resistance to sharing. I could leave here and I could go to St. Vincent and Grenada and I don't have to know anybody there. And the welcome that you would get is so different to other parts of the world from what it is and what it is. We have our issues and so on, but we have togetherness that bands us together. Because, take for example, whenever, for example, Miss Universe competition or sporting competitions or something, you start out with the different teams in the Caribbean probably being in the same event and so on. But eventually, when it boils down to whichever team, it could be Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad, Tobago, the whole Caribbean is rooting for that one team.
That is true. That is so very true. What would you say are people surprised to learn when they get to know you?
I didn't get that.
What would you say are people surprised to learn about you when they get to know you?
I'm very human. I remember doing an interview one time with a journalist, and she was asking me about, because fashion itself appears to be this genre that's supposed to be so superficial and have a lot of divas and that type of thing in fashion, right? And I was reminding her that I have a son, and my son doesn't want to know anything about who I am outside of home. It's mommy, I'm hungry. Mommy, when you gonna get my food? Mommy,
Yes.
So, and my family, I have a little niece, and she's the same way. They don't care about that type of thing. Family doesn't really care about who you are outside of your home presence. So I'm very human. I'm very warm with the people. I'm very loyal to my friends. And that's who I am.
How would you say your family has contributed to the career path you took?
But for one thing, my older sister, Jennifer, she has been instrumental in terms of being supportive in terms of my education, because I remember my mom died when I was now going to enter John Donaldson Tech. About a year after. It's about a year while I was in John Donaldson Tech. And my mom had died. And my sister continued the support in terms of sending me money to go to school and to do what I had to do. I've always remembered her being very supportive in terms of my career, even as a child. Whatever I needed for my art and so on, she put that first. She focused on that, and she would send it for me. But she lived in Canada at the time.
Mm-hmm. And is there a favorite memory you have of your parents?
Well, I gave you the favorite memory of my dad, and that's sitting on his lap and drawing.
Yes.
There's also one where he plays patience with, the deck of cards, the game solitaire. In the Caribbean, we call it patience.
Yes.
So, would you believe that I do that to this day, but I don't play with a deck of cards? I play it on my computer or on my phone. So that's something I got from my dad. I always remember him, and I cannot wind down for the night without playing at least a couple games. With my mom, my favorite memory is coconut bake, cocoa tea, coconut bake and buljol, and cocoa tea. Yeah. So she would make that, and my mother had this thing about sitting down for a meal, whether it's breakfast, whether it's lunch, whether it's dinner. So you would sit down for breakfast as a family, you would sit down for lunch as a family, and you would sit for dinner as a family. She didn't want to hear anything about you eating and you by yourself eating, and everybody had to sit together and talk.
Any special words of wisdom from either of them that still resonate with you today?
But it has so much from mommy.
Okay.
And one of the ones that to this day I always remember is come to come you'll see. She always says that because when you're young, you have so much in terms of arrogance of youth that you tell yourself you know everything.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother always had this thing, she used to say, come to come, you will see. And which basically means that you think you know everything right now, but more time, God bless you with more years, you're going to see that you don't, and your perspective is going to change. And that's,
I want to get into your designs and what inspires them. Now, you spoke about sitting on the lap of your dad sometimes and watching him draw and so on, and you talked about, the anthropological urges that you have of exploring ancient art. You talk about being more a Caribbean woman than a Trinidadian per se, or identifying yourself with Caribbean, and you talk about all the various cultures and how selfless the Caribbean is and friendly. Do all of those things, do you see them manifesting themselves in your art, in your design?
yes, I would like to think so.
Mhm.
Because design, even though it's a lonely, creating itself, even though what I do is lonely in itself in the sense that I have to sit and do whatever, I still do not do it in isolation. I draw inspiration from conversations that I've had with people who I've met, things that I've seen, experiences, whether it's good experiences or bad experiences. All these things I draw outside of both my geographical space, my spiritual space, and my physical space.
Mhm.
And I draw these inspirations outside of it, and I draw it from the people that are around me and the people that I meet every day. For example, Trinidad is like very much metropolitan. You would walk down, say, Charlotte Street, and you hear all sorts of different accents and so on. There's no telling who you're going to meet. And we have this tendency to dismiss things because we take them and we take them for granted. And we dismiss things because this person is not like us, it doesn't sound like us, and so on. As an artist, I have learned that I can't afford to do that if I want to grow and expand. I need to draw. I need it. It's like a light force. So when I see, for example, the Guyanese girl down the road with about 6 different weave colors in her hair or something, or the big earrings that, symbolizes she got those from it's Guyanese gold and she made it from, it may seem garish to some people or something, but I draw inspiration from all that. I look at it, I look at how they hold their heads, I look at how they talk, attitudes, mannerisms. All these are part of my inspiration.
Your formal jewelry design training, or formal training in jewelry design, how has that helped you along the way, or throughout, over your career path?
When I made the decision to get formally trained in jewelry design, it was the best decision that I made. For me, when I was at John D, I was trained in visual communications design, graphic arts or design, as the case may be. And but it was very generalized. As a designer, you're trained not to specifically go into one field. You're trained in design itself. And design has a very large area that it covers, whether it's interior design, whether it's product design, whether it's situation design or something like that. But my decision to formally get trained in design was the best decision, simply because I was doing jewelry in terms of using like non-traditional materials and so on. And after a while, when you want to grow and you want to expand your knowledge in something, you start to look way to do it. The formal way was the way for me to do it to get it done. So the decision was made, I think it was in 2007, when what had happened was that MIC was conducting the jewelry making and design classes at John Donaldson time. And they had closed down. They had closed down for about 3 years. There was a transition between um, John Donaldson and Costa, which was at John Donaldson at that time. When they had closed down. And MIC used to run the NSDP and the NAC courses, which is the National Examination Council courses that facilitate the particular course that I was interested in taking in jewelry design. And there was nothing, I was there really frustrated. I've been trying for 3 years, keep going back. I want to do this, And I had gone to Barbados and had taken part in the Caribbean Gifts and Crafts and was very successful because at that time I was doing social stationery and was very, very successful with what it is I was doing. I had sold out everything, gotten a referral to go to Hallmark Caribbean because what bought everything was from Hallmark Barbados. And they gave me a referral to go to Hallmark Caribbean to be interviewed to do illustration for Hallmark and to sell my designs and so on. And I came off the plane at the time, and at that time there wasn't any roaming, so you couldn't get any messages or so on. You have to wait until you come back to Trinidad to put on your phone to get on your phone. And there was a lot of messages, and one of the messages was from MIC telling me that I had an interview the very next day. So I just went home, got pieces together, got back some pieces from people who had sold pieces too, just pieces that I was making along the way, and took it in. And was so, when Mr. Harris, I was interviewed by Mr. Harris, who later taught me, and he was very, very impressed with my work and so on. And from there, I made sacrifices along the way in the sense that I closed down the business that I had, where I was doing the handcrafted stationaries and so on for weddings and so on, and sacrificed for 2 years to go to school because it was 2 years full time, and there wasn't any support, there wasn't any income except from my husband, right? But I like making my own money, so so anything that I do, it has to be like after school,
Mm-hmm.
and made the sacrifice and got what I needed out of it. So I would say formal training, once you're able to do it, do it.
What was a defining moment for you after your training? When did you realize, well, you know what, this really was the best decision I made? When did that happen?
The defining moment for me was when I was offered a job right off by the same people who taught me.
Yes.
And Mr. Harris was like, you could do this. He's always been very supportive of me and in my corner. And he was like, you can do this. And I see you taking over from me when I'm finished with this because there's so much that I have to give, and having that kind of support does a lot in terms of uplifting you and motivating you to want to explore and to do better, and push your boundaries.
How would you describe the feeling you derive from creating some of your pieces?
Very spiritual.
Mm.
Yeah, because it means that not only am I looking outside for inspiration, but I'm pulling something from within me that is going to be immortalized in a very tangible form. When somebody, that connection between the creator and the person who wears something that's created is something that you really can't define in words. All I can say is that somebody saw something that spoke to them, knew what it is I did, and they decide to wear it or purchase it, and it becomes part of them.
Have you ever had any surprises, like something that just came to you, and as you're sketching it, you start to realize, well, wow, what is this?
Yeah, even not even with just sketching, but actually playing around with the materials as well. Because my process, because of the way I was trained, is for me to sketch and so on. But sometimes there's this serendipitous moment where you found your eureka, moment, playing around with a piece of material and something happened, and you're like, oh, I can do this with this, and I can move this way. And this is different to sketching because you're actually committing. A sketch, you can still take an eraser and go back and stop and so on. But with designing with the actual materials at the moment themselves, it's a lot different. I must apologize. We have an ambulance passing outside.
It's all right. That's okay. That's okay. I'm in New York. I can't say a word. What inspires your pieces?
What inspires my pieces?
Uh
Like I said, a lot of different things. Whether it be sometimes something I've read, something I'm deliberately researching. You see something and you want to push it further. Piece of fabric. Sometimes just the materials themselves. For example, I've had instances where I use a lot of raw and uncut gemstones and so on because I like things that doesn't look too contrived, right? And my aesthetics is basically very minimalist. Right? So what inspires me is sometimes the materials. Sometimes I'll deliberately decide, you know what? I've seen something, or I've read something, or I've listened to a particular song, or even people inspire me, because what I didn't tell you is that I don't only I design accessories. So it's not only jewelry. So sometimes it's a bag or it's a belt, know. So it's a lot of different things.
In the chat room, Karen asks, how does your spirituality affect your art?
Without it, there would be no art. It's in everything that I do.
You meditate a lot.
Yep. And it's a process. It's part of the process of creativity because I listen to music when I'm working. I go into my zone. One of my favorite performers that I listen to when I'm working is Garnet Silk. And this has been like from teenage years listening to Garnet Silk.
Garnet does have that effect.
Yes, he puts you in the zone and you want to work.
Yeah, he does. Do you make private pieces?
Yes, a lot of work that we do are by commission. So it's a lot of like one-of-a-kind statement pieces, and we're known the fact that we don't do stuff that's run-of-the-mill. And part of it is maintaining your integrity with your customers, because if I tell you that it's one-of-a-kind, trust me, it's one-of-a-kind. Because, as I said, it's a personal thing between both myself and the person who's going to wear it,
Do you experiment? Well, not experiment, but do you remember your favorite piece?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the pieces that are from my Pangea collection. And as the name suggests, Pangea is supposed to be the story of how the Earth was first a supercontinent, where we started out from.
Yes.
And there's a shamanistic sort of I think it's one on the ad that you put up.
Yeah.
For this, where Bree, who's my muse by the way, beautiful.
What's that?
Bree Romeo, the model. Who's wearing these. She's my muse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's wearing the piece, and it's a shamanistic looking piece, because if you look at it, you'll see that it looks like there are different things happening with the piece at the same time. So when you look at it, you're gonna be seeing like bones, like the rib cage, possibly of like a woolly mammoth or something. And you know how shamans used to dress?
Yes.
There's like crystals are supposed to represent icicles, so it's supposed to be like representational of the Bering Straits, which was the land-rich continents during the Ice Age,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that was part of it. That one is one of my favorite pieces. There's another piece there that she's wearing, and it's called Continental Drift, and it has like these little isolation of islands, but they all join together in this big necklace.
I just I put it up on the screen so the audience can see it, see what you're talking about. So walk us through the process from the time someone asks you to design a piece for them to completion. What is that like?
Um, it's a process of conversations. People come to me and I would have a conversation with them to sort of gauge what they like, you know, who they are, because the piece is essentially going to be about them when we do pieces like that. So it's going to be essentially about them. So it should have imbued in the design elements of that person's personality. So the process would be I would talk to them, they would tell me what they like and so on. Go through the process of me doing some sketches,
Mm-hmm.
eliminating, and it's a back and forth for a while, where they tell me what they like, what they don't like, what they would like to see within it, you know, and then finally we finalize whatever the end design would be, and then it's created, and hopefully they like it.
You are a brilliant person. You're a visionary. You're known for your creative edge. Now I found out tonight that you're not, consider yourself not just Trinidadian but a Caribbean woman. But how has the two, being Trinidadian, being black, being Caribbean, how have the amalgamation of those various women contributed to your passion for your craft and your art?
I'm very proud, first
Ah,
to begin, of who I am and my personal journey. No one knows your personal journey like yourself. So, at the risk of sounding arrogant,
what is that?
but that's because I know my personal journey and I know
Uh
what
huh.
it means. And I know what was sacrificed for me. I'm still in a process of growth. You don't stop learn, you don't stop live until the last breath. Being Caribbean and being black, especially in terms of the social climate of today, it's a hard thing simply because people are making it hard, right? There's this urge to be um, politically correct for the wrong things. And I'm not known for that. I say what I need to say without malice or fear of
It's okay. But you know what? Let's take a quick break.
okay.
All right, let's take a quick break.